This is the story of Turner Classic Movies, the network that single-handedly saved Hollywood's greatest treasures from disappearing forever. For 30 years, TCM has stood as the last bastion of commercial-free classic cinema, preserving not just movies, but the soul of filmmaking itself. Picture this. It's 1994, and cable television is drowning in commercials, colorized classics, and edited for television butchery.
They were rough. They were really rough.
Classic films are being treated like disposable content, chopped up and sold to the highest bidder. Then, on April 14, 1994, at exactly 6 p.m. Eastern Time, something remarkable happened in Times Square. Ted Turner pulled an oversized switch, and Turner Classic Movies went live.
But this was the moment from regional curiosity to national player.
Promising something revolutionary in the television landscape. Uninterrupted, uncolorized, and commercial-free classic films. The date wasn't chosen randomly. April 14, 1994 marked exactly 100 years since the first commercial exhibition of moving pictures in America. On that same date in 1894, a Canadian entrepreneur had rented a shoe shop just off Times Square and turned it into a kinetoscope parlor where patrons could watch Thomas Edison's flicks through an eye slit in self-cranked machines for 25 cents. Turner was making a statement. Cinema had come full circle. But TCM's origin story begins years earlier, with one of the most audacious business deals in entertainment history. In March 1986, Ted Turner shocked Hollywood by purchasing Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer for a staggering $1.5 billion.
My cable network keeps America ahead with 24-hour news.
But Turner...
I still consider myself a bold adventurer.
By any measure, Turner had overpaid, and the deal put his company in crushing debt. Within months, financial reality forced him to sell MGM's production and distribution assets back to Kirk Kerkorian for $480 million.
That might hurt the ratings. It'd be a high-wire balancing act.
Turner kept the crown jewel, though. MGM's legendary film library spanning from 1924 to 1986. This wasn't just any collection. Turner now owned the rights to cinematic masterpieces like The Wizard of Oz, Casablanca, Gone with the Wind, 2001, A Space Odyssey, and Singin' in the Rain. Combined with films from Warner Brothers and RKO Radio Pictures, Turner suddenly possessed over 4,300 classic films, essentially the backbone of American cinema's golden age.
More primetime exposure for classic film, more viewers than ever before, and of course, more revenue.
Initially, these treasures appeared on Turner Network television with commercial interruptions and, controversially, in colorized versions that infuriated film purists. When Turner colorized classics like The Maltese Falcon, the backlash was swift and fierce. Film critics, directors, and even the Library of Congress pushed back, with Congress establishing the National Film Registry specifically to preserve films in their original formats. By 1993, Turner realized he needed a different approach. On June 4th, the Turner Broadcasting System Board of Directors authorized the creation of something unprecedented, a cable channel devoted entirely to classic films, shown without commercials, without colorization, and without editing.
Nearly 400 classic movies a month and not a commercial in sight.
The decision to go commercial-free was financially risky, but the executive team knew it would be more valuable in the long run to serve their core audience of film lovers rather than chase advertising dollars. When TCM launched, it reached approximately 1 million cable subscribers. The opening ceremony in Times Square drew Golden Age stars including Jane Powell, Celeste Holm, Van Johnson, and Arlene Dahl. The spectacle didn't stop traffic, but at least 2 taxis collided as cab drivers strained to see what was happening. Ted Turner and the man who would become TCM's defining voice, Robert Osborne, did the honors when the network went live at 7:10 p.m.
Hi, welcome to Turner Classic Movies. I'm Robert Osborne. I'm going to be your host. I think you're going to love Turner Classic Movies.
Robert Osborne's path to TCM began in the most unlikely way. In 1941, when he was just 9 years old, his mother purchased the August edition of Modern Screen magazine featuring Lana Turner. That single magazine sparked a lifelong obsession with Hollywood. By age 12, Osborne was working at the Rose Theater, changing posters and film titles on the marquee. He once fell while changing a title and broke both arms, an early sacrifice to his passion for cinema.
He lived
ate and breathed movies.
Osborne started in show business as an actor under contract to Lucille Ball and Daisy Arnaz's Desilu Productions. Ball, impressed by his college education, suggested he write a book instead of pursuing acting. She remained his friend until her death, but more importantly, she redirected his career toward the role that would make him a legend. As TCM's primary host for over 20 years, Osborne filmed more than 50,000 introductions and outros without ever repeating a script. His encyclopedic knowledge, gentlemanly demeanor, and genuine love for cinema made him the perfect ambassador for classic films.
Always so caring, always ask how I'm doing.
As one fan, Gene Wilder, famously said, "My wife and I love Robert so much we go to bed with him every night." Osborne's calm presence and deeply personal interviewing style helped shape TCM into something more than a television channel. It became a cultural institution. Steven Spielberg captured Osborne's impact perfectly when he said, "He got us excited and reawakened to the greatest stories ever told with the most charismatic stars in the world. He sure opened my eyes to all that has come before and put TCM solidly on the map." Under Osborne's guidance, TCM developed a unique programming philosophy. As Charlie Tebesh, TCM's senior VP of programming, explained, "Context and curation is what we're known for. We've never programmed the channel with ratings in mind.
He's always in motion.
If we did, we wouldn't be playing silent films or 1930s black and white movies." This commitment to artistry over commerce set TCM apart in an increasingly commercialized media landscape. The network's dedication to film preservation became legendary. TCM partnered with the Film Foundation, Martin Scorsese's preservation organization founded in 1990, which has restored more than 900 movies. Board members like Spielberg and Paul Thomas Anderson joined the effort to save cinematic history from decay and neglect.
Since the 80s, it's become kind of a sport and really a form of judgment. It culturally trivializes film.
TCM wasn't just showing old movies, it was actively rescuing them for future generations. By September 2002, when AMC abandoned classic films for original programming and modern movies, TCM became the sole cable channel devoted entirely to commercial-free classic cinema.
And basically invented modern cable TV networking as we now know it.
This unique position made TCM invaluable to film lovers and scholars worldwide. The TCM database grew to include over 1.25 million people and more than 130,000 film titles, creating the most comprehensive resource for classic film information ever assembled. TCM's influence extended beyond television. In 2010, the network launched the TCM Classic Film Festival in Hollywood, bringing together fans, filmmakers, and stars to celebrate cinema's greatest achievements.
It unique programming that viewers just simply couldn't get on other broadcast networks.
The festival became a pilgrimage site for film lovers, with screenings in historic theaters and appearances by surviving legends of the Golden Age. The network also pioneered the luxury film cruise experience, offering themed voyages where passengers could enjoy classic films at sea while meeting fellow enthusiasts and TCM personalities. These cruises sold out year after year, proving that TCM had created more than a television audience. They had built a devoted community. In September 2003, TCM made a crucial hiring decision that would secure its future. They brought in Ben Mankiewicz, grandson of Citizen Kane screenwriter Herman J. Mankiewicz, as only the second host in the network's history. Mankiewicz brought fresh energy while maintaining the network's commitment to thoughtful film discussion. His personal connection to Hollywood royalty, he's also the grandnephew of director Joseph L. Mankiewicz, gave him unique insights into film history. Mankiewicz later reflected on TCM's role in his life. "I met my future wife at the first festival. We got married on the TCM cruise in 2013. We have a child because of TCM. TCM created a person. This wasn't just about television programming. TCM was bringing people together through shared love of cinema." The network continued expanding its cultural footprint. The TCM podcast, The Plot Thickens, garnered over 7 million downloads, while partnerships with the Criterion Collection led to Filmstruck, a streaming service that operated from 2016 to 2018. Though Filmstruck eventually ended, it demonstrated TCM's commitment to reaching younger audiences on new platforms. Throughout these successes, one statistic stood out. TCM's most screened movie was 1942's Casablanca, with 150 runs and counting. This choice perfectly embodied TCM's mission. Casablanca represented everything great about Hollywood's golden age, from its stellar cast to its timeless themes of love and sacrifice during wartime. When Robert Osborne passed away in March 2017 at age 84, it felt like the end of an era. TCM General Manager Jennifer Dorian said, "His calming presence, gentlemanly style, encyclopedic knowledge of film history, fervent support for film preservation, and highly personal interviewing style all combined to make him a truly world-class host." But Osborne had trained successors like Mankiewicz, and TCM continued with expanded hosting duties shared among Alicia Malone, Dave Karger, Jacqueline Stewart, and Eddie Muller. In 2019, corporate upheaval threatened TCM's future when AT&T acquired Time Warner and began cost-cutting across all divisions. The situation worsened in 2021 when AT&T merged its Warner Media division with Discovery to form Warner Brothers Discovery, led by CEO David Zaslav. The crisis reached its peak in June 2023. Warner Brothers Discovery ordered TCM to cut 2/3 of its salary budget, leading to the departure of key executives, including General Manager Paula Chang-yon, who had worked at Turner for over 25 years. The layoff sent shockwaves through Hollywood, particularly among the filmmaking community that viewed TCM as sacred ground. What happened next was unprecedented in television history. Three of cinema's greatest living directors, Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese, and Paul Thomas Anderson, intervened directly with CEO David Zaslav. In a joint statement, they declared, "Turner Classic Movies has always been more than just a channel. It is truly a precious resource of cinema, open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week." The director's intervention worked. Within weeks, Zaslav announced that Charlie Tabesh would remain in his position. The content budget would increase by 30%, and the three filmmakers would become official advisors to the network. It was a cinematic happy ending. The auteurs who had been inspired by TCM's classic films were now protecting the network that preserved their inspiration. Zaslav himself seemed to understand what he had almost destroyed, saying, "TCM is the history of our country," and citing anti-KKK film, Black Legion, Confessions of a Nazi Spy, and Gentleman's Agreement as examples of cinema's power to shape American consciousness. The 2023 controversy revealed something profound about TCM's cultural importance. This wasn't just about preserving old movies. TCM had become the keeper of cinematic memory itself. In an age of streaming services that constantly add and remove content based on licensing deals, TCM remained the one place where classic films had a permanent home. As TCM celebrated its 30th anniversary in April 2024, the network looked stronger than ever. The Filmmaker Advisory Agreement was extended through 2024, with Scorsese, Spielberg, and Anderson actively involved in programming decisions. New initiatives like 2 for 1, featuring notable filmmakers co-hosting Saturday night features, brought fresh perspectives while honoring TCM's core mission. The network expanded its host roster while maintaining its commitment to thoughtful film presentation. Eddie Muller continued hosting Noir Alley, Dave Karger guided viewers through classic musicals, and Jacqueline Stewart brought scholarly insight as chair of the National Film Preservation Board. Each host brought unique expertise while sharing Osborne's fundamental respect for cinema as art. TCM's influence on contemporary filmmaking cannot be overstated. Directors like Quentin Tarantino, Christopher Nolan, and Damien Chazelle have credited the network with shaping their artistic vision. By providing context and curation rather than just content, TCM educated new generations of filmmakers and film lovers about cinema's rich history. Looking forward, TCM faces the challenge of remaining relevant in an increasingly fragmented media landscape. But the network's unique position as both cultural institution and entertainment channel provides advantages that streaming services cannot replicate. TCM's linear programming creates shared viewing experiences, while its commercial-free presentation respects both the films and the audience in ways that ad-supported platforms cannot match. The network's expansion into podcasts, festivals, cruises, and educational partnerships demonstrates that TCM has evolved beyond television into a comprehensive brand celebrating cinematic heritage. The upcoming partnership with 750 Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies cartoons, beginning in February 2026, shows TCM continuing to expand its definition of classic entertainment while maintaining its core values. Ben Mankiewicz captured TCM's unique place in media history. How many other channels on television celebrate their anniversary? How many other channels fans know where they were the day a network launched? I'm not sure either of those things are true without Robert Osborne. He's the Walter Cronkite of TCM, the Johnny Carson, the Alex Trebek. 30 years after Ted Turner pulled that oversized switch in Times Square, Turner Classic Movies has achieved something remarkable in American media. It has remained true to its founding mission while building a passionate, multi-generational audience. In an era of constant change and commercial pressure, TCM stands as proof that respecting both content and audience can create something more valuable than quarterly profits. The network that began as an outlet for Ted Turner's expensive movie collection has become the guardian of cinematic history itself. Every night, millions of viewers go to bed with classic films, just as Gene Wilder described. They're not just watching old movies, they're participating in a continuous conversation between past and present, between the golden age of Hollywood and contemporary film culture. TCM didn't just save Hollywood's greatest films from being forgotten. It created a space where cinema is treated as art, where context matters as much as content, and where the magic of movies continues to inspire new generations of dreamers, filmmakers, and lovers of the silver screen. In preserving the past, Turner Classic Movies secured the future of film appreciation itself.